Hey, Turley, thanks. A graduate student at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, is now suing the school for slapping her with a no-contact order. It was after some students complained about her conservative views like these. One post to her Instagram story said, quote, "Justice and truth prevailed" in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and accused the media of, quote, "trying to twist the narrative." In another instance, she shared a message from a pro-life organization and said, "Knowledge leads to life." Well, that student, Maggie DeYoung, and her lawyer, Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel Tyson Langhofer. They're joining me now. So I read some of those, just a couple of those posts that you put on your Instagram, and that was what was more or less deemed offensive to get to this boiling point. But talk to us about the civility on college campuses, or maybe the lack thereof, and how we got to this point to people just being offended just for people having a different view than they do.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having us on. I was in my third and final year of my graduate program for art therapy counseling, and I was wrapping it up. Graduation was on the horizon, but I learned that throughout the course of my experience in this program, I participated in classroom discussions in which we discussed contentious issues such as race relations or religion, and for therapists, the postmodern theoretical framework. And so these were discussed within the classroom setting, and so I was alarmed when I had received 3 no-contact orders that prevented me from having direct or indirect communication with these 3 students. Essentially, they were restraining orders that applied to on and off campus.
Okay, so also, Maggie, you say that you came to class, you were wearing a pro-police back the blue hat, and your professor asked you to explain why you were wearing it. Your lawsuit reads, quote, "Rather than take off the hat to appease the defendant," and students who took offense to it, Ms. DeYoung stood her ground as fellow students argued that that hat was a symbol of oppression and implied that Ms. DeYoung was a racist for wearing it. Okay, so also now talk to us about how we also got to the point to where the teachers backed these 3 students and then asked you to explain yourself. Do you think you needed to explain yourself in that instance?
I think that's a good question for my lawyer.
Tyson, do you want to step in?
Sure. No, I mean, look, Maggie never violated any university policy, yet the university issued no contact orders against her, prohibiting her from fully participating in classes, including discussions about, race relations, and the police, simply because they deemed her beliefs as unwelcome. I mean, universities can't issue no contact orders and tell students they can't speak with other students simply for expressing their views.
Okay, so you say that they can't issue these, but they did. How do you think this lawsuit's gonna end?
Well, as of today, we've got the answer to that question. It ended with that brave young Patriot student triumphing in her lawsuit. That university, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, has just settled with Maggie DeYoung, agreeing to pay her $80,000. And this is what makes it so sweet. And 3 professors from the university will be required to take mandatory First Amendment training related to free speech on college campuses. I mean, that is just so glorious. The settlement also stipulates that university officials must revise their student handbook and policies to, quote, "ensure students with varying political, religious, and ideological views are welcome in the art therapy program." Now, as you saw, this court victory came 3 years after the student, Maggie DeYoung, received 3 no-contact orders from the school, which prevented her from having direct or indirect communication with the 3 offended woke students who claimed her political viewpoints constituted harassment and discrimination. Now, what's so insane here is that the school sided with these utterly neurotic, imbecilic students rather than telling them to buck up and learn a thing or two about actual tolerance. Tolerance of viewpoints that you may not share. The school actively attempted to cancel Maggie, to silence her. Well, now those professors are going to have to go to their own re-education camps to school them in the Constitution. The very document that affords them the academic freedom to spout out their absurd Marxist views. To me, that's the bizarre irony in all of this. the very professors that want to shut down everyone who offends them turn around and appeal to the very constitutional right they deny to others for themselves, the freedom of expressing their own wacky filth. And now it's coming back to bite them, and bite them hard. In fact, this court decision is just the beginning. Wait until you see this. But what Maggie did, as you all know, is it took courage. Standing up for what's right, even when everyone else around you has gone insane, isn't for the timid. It takes guts. And it takes a network of fellow courageous patriots like the Alliance Defending Freedom to make sure that Maggie knows they've got your back. That's why if you've been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building the parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism firsthand. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech, give you the cliff notes and the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private, all with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. Now, if you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click the link in my description below. Don't wait. Join me in my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting. A new Gallup poll is showing a devastating decline in confidence in our colleges across the country. Only 36% of Americans say they have confidence in our nation's universities. That's a dramatic decline from 2018, when half of Americans said they trusted our universities. Now, most notably, registered or identified Republicans have virtually no confidence whatsoever in the modern university. Just 19% stated that they had a lot of confidence in our colleges. And we could hardly blame them. According to one study, over 75% of the faculty at Harvard identifies either liberal or very liberal. 75%. Only 2% identifies conservative. Now, the disparity between those figures and the total proportion of liberals in the general population is staggering. Gallup's latest polling shows that liberals make up no more than 26% of our population. Conservatives are almost double, 40%. But university faculties are literally the mirror opposite of the political sentiments of the wider general public. And so it's no wonder that universities across the nation are beginning to learn the hard way that fundamental law of the universe: get woke, go broke. As it turns out, woke colleges across the nation are closing their doors forever in record numbers. CNBC is reporting on the increasing number of college closures across the United States. Since 2016, nearly 100 colleges have either closed, merged with other institutions, or announced plans to close. College enrollment has dropped nearly 10% between the fall of 2019 and 2022. That represents the largest three-year decrease in enrollment that we've seen in more than 2 generations. However, that's not true of all colleges. Conservative Christian colleges are flourishing. A number of reports have noticed how conservative Christian colleges and universities have seen an increase in enrollment, all the while the national enrollment rate for college students has declined across the board. We saw this particularly during the COVID lockdowns, where we noted a dramatic shift towards more conservative campuses that hadn't gone insane. And it's also it's because of the massive fertility discrepancy between woke liberals and conservative Christians, where Christians have, on average, a 40% higher fertility rate than secular liberals. So the wonderful news here is that the woke university increasingly appears to be learning the fundamental law of the universe the hard way. Get woke, go broke. And with courageous patriots like Maggie DeYoung standing up for what's right, they're going to go broke a whole lot faster.